Guo Xiaotian said, "The enemy soldiers to our country arbitrarily catch people kill. I Song government even want to listen to their messengers' orders, that also into what world?" Yang Taishan sighed. The emperor of Song Dynasty has submitted himself to the Jin Dynasty, and all the civil and military officials have become the minions of the Jin Dynasty. Qiu Shuji Hate said, "Monks originally cannot be killed indiscriminately, but once you see the people traitors, enemies, poor Taoist cannot be merciful." Guo Yang two people unanimously said, kill good, kill good. Small village residents are few, cold and snowy, no one goes out, even if someone saw the fight, but also fled home to close the house. Who dares to come over to look at the inquiry? Yang Taishan took out hoes and shovels. The three buried more than 10 corpses into the riverside soil. Li Ping and Bao Shiji took the broom to sweep away the blood on the snow. Sweep a while. Bao Shiji suddenly felt the blood rush straight to the chest. The eyes of the Venus chaotic. Sit down on the snow. Yang Taishan ate a shock, busy grabbed help up, even asked, how? Bao Shiji weak closed eyes do not answer. Yang Taishan see her face like white paper, hands and feet cold, cannot help but panic. Qiu Chichi over to take hold of Pao Chui's right wrist, took a pulse, loudly laughed. Congratulations, congratulations. Yang Taishan stunned asked, what? At this time, Pao Chui boing sound woke up, see 3 men standing around, cannot help but shy. Li Ping helped her back into the room, give her tea. Qiu Chi smiled and said, your wife is happy. Yang Taishan joyfully said, really? Qiu Shiji laughed. Poor Taoism life learning, a little sufficient to comfort only 3 things. The first is medicine, alchemy cannot, in the medicine and stone, but know a lot. The second is to do a few crooked poems. The third is these few hands of martial arts without rules and regulations. Guo Xiaotian said, if this amazing martial arts is still considered to be out of order, my brothers and I can only say that it is a child dancing with a bamboo stick. The 3 of them joked and laughed while sweeping the snow to extinguish the traces. Sweeping snow finished into the house to reorganize the cups and plates. Qiu Shiji today killed a lot of gold people, big happy heart, meaning very proud. Yang Taishan thought of his wife as pregnant, smiling and can't close his mouth, thinking, this Taoist priest will do poetry, that is both martial arts. Said, Guo Da's sister-in-law is also pregnant with a child, so I'll bother the Taoist master to give 2 names, okay? Qiu Shiji slightly contemplated, said, Guo big brother's child will be called Guo Jing, Yang second brother's child is called Yang Kang, no matter male or female, can use these 2 names. Guo Xiaotian said, good, the Taoist master means to tell them not to forget the shame of Jing Kang, to remember the humiliation of the 2 emperors were taken captive. Qiu Shiji said, exactly. Reaching into his pocket, he touched out 2 short swords and placed them on the table. This pair of sword length and shape is exactly the same, both are green leather sheath, gold swallow mouth, ebony hilt. He picked up Yang Tiexin's dagger, with the tip of the dagger on the hilt of one of the short swords engraved, Guo Jing, 2 words, in the other short sword engraved, Yang Kang, 2 words. Guo Yang 2 people see his dagger like flying, more rapid than ordinary people write, just understand what he means. Qiu Sueji has finished carving the words, laughed. Guests did not bring what things, this pair of short swords, left to the 2 not yet born child it. Guo Yang 2 people thanked to take. Draw the sword out of the sheath, only feel the cold air, the blade of the sword is very sharp. Church said, this pair of short sword is I inadvertently got, although sharp, but the blade is short, the poor Taoist does not fit to make, in the future the children can be used to kill the enemy to defend themselves. 10 years later, if I am still alive, I will come back and teach the children a few kung fu skills, how? Guo Yang 2 people were very happy, thank you. Qiu Shiji said, the Jin soldiers are strong in the north, tyrannical and murderous to the people, the people's heart is not attached, its potential will not be long. The two good self-care it. Raise the cup and drink, open the door out. Guo Yang two people to stay, but saw him step like flying, in the snow early to go far away. Guo Xiaotian sighed. High man chivalry is always like this to and fro, although we are fortunate to meet today, want to take the opportunity to discuss, but no chance. Yang Taishan laughed. Big brother, the Taoist priest today killed a good pain, but also to us out of the mouth. Take the short sword, pull out the sheath to rub the blade, suddenly said, Big brother, I have a silly idea, you see into it. Guo Xiaotian said, How? Yang Taishan said, If our children are all men, then let them be brothers, if they are all daughters, they will be sisters. Guo Xiaotian grabbed the road, if a man and a woman, then married. The two shook hands and laughed. Li Ping and Bao Chuwei out of the inner hall, asked with a smile, What is it that makes you so happy? Yang Taishan said what he had just said. The two ladies heard, the heart are very happy, cannot stop shouting. Yang Taishan said, Let's change this pair of short swords first, even if it's a gift. If they are brothers and sisters, we will change back. If a small couple of it. Guo Xiaotian laughed. Then I'm sorry very much, the two swords are to do brother's home. Bao Chuwei laughed. Maybe it's all in the brother's house. At that moment Guo Yang two people changed the short sword, respectively handed over to Li Ping and Bao Chuwei put away. Guo's couple said goodbye and went home. At that time, the finger for marriage, things are unusual, two children not out of the womb, both parents have often set a lifetime event on their behalf. Yang Taishan playing with a short sword, pouring himself a drink, not feel drunk. Bao Shiji weak will help her husband on the bed, clean up the cups and plates, see the sky is already late, to the backyard to collect chickens into the cage, to close the back door, only to see a little bit of blood in the snow, across the back door. She ate a shock, thought. So there is still blood here not cleaned up, if to the government officials to see, is not a great misfortune. She took a broom and went out to sweep the snow. The blood straight through to the forest behind the house, the snow left a trace of someone crawling, the more suspicious of the packet, followed by the blood into the pine forest, turned to an old grave, only to see the underground dark mass of things. Bao Chuhui approached to see, it is a corpse, dressed in black, is one of the people who just came to catch Qiushiqi, I think he was injured, then not dead, climbed here. She was about to go back to wake up her husband out of the burial, suddenly thought, don't make God's will, but this time someone over to bump into. Gathered the courage, the past pull the corpse, want to pull into the bushes to hide, and then go to call her husband. Unexpectedly, she reached out and pulled, the corpse suddenly twisted, followed by a moan. Bao Shiji weak this time scared out of heaven, only that is a zombie monster, turned to escape, but the feet are like nailed to the ground in general, can no longer move. After a long time, the corpse and no longer move, she took the broom to gently touch it, the corpse and moaned a little, the sound is very weak. She realized that this person is not dead. Fixed eyes, see his back shoulder hit a wolf tooth arrow, deep into the flesh, the arrow is stained with blood. The sky snowflakes continue to drift down, that person has been covered with a thin layer of white snow, only after midnight, will be frozen also frozen to death. Since she was young, she was kind-hearted, as long as she saw the injured sparrows, chickens, and even insects and ants and so on, must be brought home to feed properly until the injury is healed, and then put back to the field, if the treatment is not good, will be unhappy all day long, which is the nature of the big still do not change. So that the house is full of insects and ants, small birds and animals. Her father was a village scholar who failed to pass the exams, and gave her a name according to her nature, called Shiwei. Hongmei village package family old rooster old hen special, the original package, after raising chickens, never slaughter one, parents want to eat. Only to the market to buy another, every chicken in the family have to enjoy the day, the end of life. After she married into the Yang family, Yang Taishan on this flowery wife is very compassionate, everything goes along with her nature. Yang's backyard is naturally the world of small birds and animals. Later, the Yang family's small chickens and ducks have slowly become big chickens and ducks. Only she married not long ago. The family has not yet appeared old chickens and ducks, but the trend, the future will be so. At this time, she saw the man dying in the snow. Compassionate thought, knowing that this person is not a good person, but see him die of pain and freeze to death, no matter how intolerable. She slightly pondered, rushed back to the house, to wake up her husband to discuss, but Yang Taishan drunken sleep, push him just do not move. Bao Shiji weak thought, or save the man said, when picked up the husband's bleeding powder gold wound medicine, took a knife and broken cloth, half a pot of hot wine on the stove, and ran to the back of the grave. The man was still lying still. Bao Shiji weak help him up, half a pot of hot wine to him slowly into his mouth. She has been used to treating small birds and beasts since she was a child, and she also has some knowledge of medical injuries, and she saw that the arrow was shot very deeply, and if she pulled it out randomly, she was afraid that she would be killed by blood spurting at that time, but if she didn't pull out the arrow, she couldn't be cured in the end, and so she clenched her teeth, and cut open the muscle next to the arrow with a sharp knife, and she held the shaft of the arrow, and she struggled to put it out. That person screamed, fainted, traumatic blood sprayed straight. Only shot to the chest lapel of Pao Chichi, all blood spots. The arrow finally pulled out. The arrow was finally pulled out. The heart of the bag Chichi weakly jumped, busy to stop bleeding scattered pressed in the wound, with a strip of cloth tightly tied. After a while, the man woke up, but weak, even humming cannot hum. Bao Shiji weak scared hands and feet soft, really can't help this big man, an idea, went home to get a door board, pull the man to the board, and then drag the door board on the snow, like a snowmobile, he dragged home, into the woodshed. She had been busy for half a day, and then her mind settled down, changed out of her dirty clothes, washed her hands and face, poured out a bowl of unfinished chicken soup from the pot, took the candlestick with one hand, and went to the woodshed to look at the man. See that person's breathing is fine, did not die. Bao Shiji weak heart very comfort, the chicken soup to feed him. The man drank half a bowl, suddenly coughing violently. Bao Shiji weak ate a shock, lifting the candlestick to see, under the candlelight to see this person's eyebrows and eyes, high nose, actually is a handsome young man. Her face was hot, her left hand trembled slightly, shook the candlestick, a few drops of candle oil dripped on the man's face. The man opened his eyes, suddenly saw a hibiscus face, cheeks red, starry eyes such as waves, eyes and pity and shyness, the current scene, just like in a dream, cannot help but look dumbfounded. Bao Chiwei whispered, better drink this bowl of soup. The man reached out to take, but the hand is weak, almost poured all the soup on the body. Pao Sikwi grabbed the bowl of soup. At this time, it was important to save the man, so she had to use the spoon to feed him a mouthful of the soup. After the man drank the chicken soup, his eyes gradually appeared to light up, gazing at her, obviously grateful. Bao Shiji weak fell to him to see some embarrassed, took a few bundles of straw to cover him, holding a candle back to the room. This night can no longer sleep soundly, and even had a few nightmares. Suddenly saw her husband quite a gun to the woodshed in the man stabbed to death, and see the man with a knife to kill her husband, but to chase their own, on all sides of the abyss. There is no place to escape, several times to wake up from the dream, scared body full of cold sweat. To get up in the morning, her husband has long been out of bed, only to see him holding an iron gun, is using a whetstone to sharpen the head of the gun. Pao Sikwi remembered the night dream, fearful, busy walking to the woodshed, pushed open the door. The shock is even more, only a pile of messy grass inside. The man has no idea of where to go. She ran to the backyard, only to see the back door is hidden. The snow is a line of people rolling and crawling to the west and traces. She looked at the traces, do not feel bewildered out of mind. After a long time, a cold wind blowing in the face, suddenly feel sore bones, very sleepy. Back to the front hall, Yang Taishan has burned a good white porridge, placed on the table, smiled. You see, I burned the porridge is not bad, right? Bao Shiji weak know her husband, because of their own pregnancy, is to specialize in the body, a smile and sit, pick up the bowl of porridge and eat up. She thought that if she told her husband last night, he was cynical as vengeance, will certainly rush to the man stabbed to death, is not to save people did not save Che. At the moment, never mention.